Happy New Year. Happy 2025. This time of year, all of us are, starting to think, oh, I'm gonna do something new with my life. I'm gonna change my life somehow. I'm gonna make myself a better person somehow. I'm gonna do better at something somehow. Well, I'm gonna ask you to consider letting go of this BS myth, self-made. And I'm gonna go into 3 parts of why. First, of course, is we see it on TV all the time. The rich guys, these ultra rich people. I'm self-made. Never mind my daddy gave me an emerald mine. Never mind my daddy gave me a real estate empire worth millions in the 1970s. Never mind all that. Ignore that. I'm self-made. Even my favorite person, one of my favorites in the world, Warren Buffett, right? I grew up kind of middle class poor. Middle class poor, your dad was an investment broker in an investment firm. I'm pretty sure most Americans don't necessarily think of that kind of access as poor or middle class. Maybe middle class in the lower ranks. But when he says that he invested $114 when he was 11 years old into 3 shares of stock in Citi Financial Services at $38 a share. What he fails to mention is the minimum buy for most shares of stock, the very least you could buy was 100 shares a pop. So Daddy must have bought the other 97 shares. Doesn't sound as cushy, all self-made now, does it? And also, in the 1940s, he probably would have had to have a brokerage firm account worth at least 10 grand. Because in the 1950s, the lowest I could find was a 10 grand buy-in, right? Maybe in the 1940s, it might have been lower, but I doubt it. The federal government had some set guidelines, and the stock exchanges themselves set guidelines on fees and things like that at the time. So it's highly unlikely that anyone had a brokerage firm account without at least 10 grand even in the 1940s. But more importantly, when we talk about reality is, in 1960, the average house cost $11,500. So by the time that Warren Buffett's talking about he was making his first millions and how he had started with only $114, the average American would have to have enough money to buy 2 houses, one for their house and one for their brokerage account, just to get into the game, just to ante up. It's a bullshit myth. He had access that other people didn't have. Somebody made up the other 97 shares, and somebody had the money to make up those other 97 shares for him to buy those 3 shares. So it's not true he's self-made, is he? Somebody else gave him and allowed him that access. Just like it's not true that somebody who daddy gave him an emerald mine or gave them a multi-million-dollar real estate company in one of the largest cities in the world in the 1970s. None of these men are self-made. Hell, even one of the most famous American women, as far as her catering business and turned into a whole brand, well, even she wasn't really self-made. She makes it sound like she was poor, but daddy was a pharmaceutical sales rep. Upper middle. Sure, she put in the hard work. And sure, they didn't like her being out of her bounds because she did prison time for insider trading. But none of these people were truly self-made. They put the work in, but somebody gave them a step up. Somebody gave them a hand and pulled them. Someone gave them the knowledge and mentored them and helped them be successful. Even if the only thing they gave them, they didn't give them love, they didn't give them mental support, they didn't give them emotional support, they gave them capital and access. And that's how rich people and ultra rich people are born. You and I are not going to be that guy. And I'm going to go one step further. I want you to think about, when you think about some of the people that you've seen promoted where you work or where you've worked in the past, how every single one of us knows at least one, if not more. I can think of 3 just from the last company I worked at, who got where they were at because they were backstabbing and taking credit for other people's work. We create another myth lie to deal with our incongruency there. We say, oh, they promote people out of the way. No, backstabber took credit for your work, got promotion, took credit for your coworkers' work, and got another promotion, backstabbed the crap out of both of you, got your coworker demoted. Oh, because they threw their mistakes onto him. Oh, please, I actually watched a guy do this over and over and over again. Facts. Self-made means backstabbing and beating the crap out of other people and doing whatever they have to do to cheat and lie their way into what they want. Are you that cheater and liar to get what you want? Probably not. So then you're left with, well, what am I doing wrong? Well, you're not doing anything wrong. All of us are the sum of the mentors and the people that have helped us along the way, that have guided us and given us the ability to be better than we were. I used to tell people, I'm a very ornery person. I learned it from my grandfather, for sure. I learned mainly from him, probably. I learned to stand up for myself from him and my father. I learned a lot from my grandmother on how to handle people that were deceptive. I didn't like her way of doing it, but it's neither here nor there. But all of those things form us as we become adults. And then once we go to college, there are professors that we adore, that we, bond with, friends, people that we live with, roommates, in the dorm or whatever. There are people at our first job, our first manager, whoever. My first manager after graduating, oh my God, I mean, to this day, I cite him as one of my greatest mentors. And somebody said, oh, well, he's only he's not even a decade older than you. That's got nothing to do with it. There have been a couple occasions I can cite people younger than me that were people that I admired and taught me things. So, and in all honesty, they help make me who I am also. We're constantly learning and becoming better people. But none of us make it on our own. We start with help from our families, our emotional, intellectual, educational. They lay the groundwork, right? And then we have mentors along the way who believe in us, who support us, who help us navigate those backstabby, lying, cheating to get whatever they want types, right? And while you have their guidance, if you've never really navigated that really well and you don't really do office politics really well, if you've never had somebody like that, you know what I'm talking about. There is a difference once you do find a person that helps you to navigate that kind of stuff. And unfortunately, sometimes somebody's going to have to fall on their sword with those backstabby types. You guys know it. Hell, we all know it. We've all dealt with one or two, if not way more. Who made you? Who makes you a success? Is everybody that you have ever gotten a helping hand from. Someone that believed in you. There is no such thing as self-made. Those ultra-rich assholes claiming they're self-made, it trickles around. Everybody starts to use the same stupid line, right? But the truth is, they're just mad because mommy and daddy gave them no love and no attention and just threw money at them. They gave them nannies and boarding school. And they didn't even show up for the holidays. That's not self-made, darling. That's neglect. So stop believing in self-made. Look around you and be appreciative of the people who made you who you are. Because those are the people that actually matter. And that self-made bullshit, let it go. All it does is helps feed those people that are backstabby, liars, willing to do whatever they can, cheat, steal other people's work, whatever. Be more than they actually are. You are who you are because of a conglomerate of people and support network. And if you don't have that support network, I am sorry, but find it. If that's the one thing you do for 2025, do that. And as always, think about it.